Hello and welcome to my very first episode of Inside the Movie World. Today I'll be talking about a Steven Spielberg film that came out early this year. It's a venture into virtual reality, and it is of course Ready Player One. The film takes place in 2045 when much of humanity uses virtual reality software, Oasis, to escape the desolation of the real world. Orphan teenager Wade Watts discovers clues to a hidden game within the program that promises the winner full ownership of the Oasis, and joins several allies to try and complete the game before a large company run by businessman Nolan Sorrento can do so. The film stars Ty Sheridan, Olivia Cooke, Ben Mendelsohn, Lena Waithe, T.J. Miller, Simon Pegg and Mark Rylance. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about are the negative points, and there are just a few, while positive points there are a load, okay? So don't worry about that. One of the main drawbacks of the film is that it takes a long time to narrate through the first part of it. And as well as that, it doesn't really explain some of the crucial points of the film as well. I can give you an example. It goes into great detail about the world, which is good. It's a good thing to do that, but then it shows the minions of the businessman Nolan Sorrento, and they are called Sixes. Now the explanation we have of the Sixes is that it's just numbers, no names. In that case it could be any other number. Why are they called Sixes? Doesn't go into very much detail, unfortunately. But upon researching, I discovered that they're called Sixes because each of the numbers start with 6 and it's 6 digits long. Now I had to research that, and it's not good when you have to research something about the movie that you're watching. Another little gripe I have with the film is its dialogue. Most of it's good, but there are just certain things that I don't like. Like there's one scene where I'm not going to give anything away, don't worry, but there's a scene where someone's winning and the narrator goes, he totally totaled his car. Now there's a number of ways you could have said that, and totally totaled his car sounds silly, really. It sounds like a throwaway bit of dialogue, and it's a flag, basically. It's a flag to say, you know, my writing is amateurish. And story-wise, I think the hint that Parsifal gets to complete the first challenge needed to be a bit more subtle, I think, because James Hardy practically looked at them and told them it, you know, rather than just kind of Parsifal listening and picking up on the subtle hints. That would have been more impressive. And as I said before, they explain a lot about the virtual world, which is great, you know, but they should have shown a bit more. They don't really show or tell you about the real world though, so there's no real contrast you can have with it, other than, you know, there's people who are desperate to log online to the Oasis. The film ends way too quick, in my opinion. We have the final battle, and then you just see the two main protagonists in a chair together and everything's fine. It would have been better to see the consequences of their actions and see where everyone's at now, whether humanity is better for their conclusions or worse off. And now the final gripe I have with the film is one of Nolan Sorrento's henchmen. She's a woman called Finale, and to be honest, that sounds silly again. You know, it's poor writing. It's like, I'll give you an example. It's like Jupiter ascending and calling your character Jupiter Jones. There should be a red flash going in your mind saying, no, that sounds stupid. Finale, it sounds stupid. On to the positives about the film, and there are a lot more than there are negatives. Now, because this is a virtual world, the special effects needed to be above standard, really, miles above standard, and they killed it. Honestly, it was so awesome to see, you know, not just the action sequences alone, but what Spielberg did with the action sequences. He kept you in the action. You know, the first race, you know, I was clenching to my seat. It was that kind of cerebral, really. You know, it was an adrenaline rush to get the viewer going and introduce you to this world of, you know, awesomeness that is, you know, that can be actually real. But along with the special effects, we also have fictional characters from other movies and TV shows and books and stuff like that. We have RoboCop, we have Batman, we have Batgirl, we have a lot of DC characters, to be honest with you. We also have Looney Tunes, Joker and Harley Quinn, to name but a few. You know, it's packed full, and it would have been funny if you had a little conversation with them. Say, you talk to Batman and a little kid's voice comes out of him. That would have been a good funny bit. But you know what, just seeing these characters walking and talking in real life is just quite enough. It's like a cameo bit, you know, a throwaway cameo, but it's good to see them actually in action. Yeah, in the final battle you get to see most of them, you know, and it's really something to see. The acting is phenomenal. Ty Sheridan, I think he does his best, but sometimes he can be quite mediocre, quite generic. But I think most of the praise can go to Olivia Cooke, who played Artemis. There was one scene in particular that I liked of hers, and that was when Parzival and her go to the records, you know, to view something to try and find out a secret of Halliday's that no one else knows. And when they discover sort of what they were looking for, her enthusiasm and kind of geeking out looks very genuine, and I was really impressed by it. You know, it's a little scene, but it is really well done, and I congratulate her on doing that, because she convinced me that she was an actual fangirl of his, and you know, her character just came fully through. I think that's marvellous. The music choices and the score are really well done. It's pop culture 80s, you know, and just reaching back there, it was a bright moment in the world, I think, and it accentuated it with the music that was released, and it was happy and up tempo. But the score as well had little hints of 80s movies. Like there's a certain bit in it where you hear the little chimes of Back to the Future, and it's a great addition. I'm not going to give anything away, but just listen out for it. Ben Mendelsohn as the antagonist, Nolan Sorrento, I think he knows how to play this guy, because he's had practice in Rogue One and Dark Knight Rises, you know, so he knows how to play this character, and he does it flawlessly. Honestly, by the end you are hating him, and it's really something when you're not seeing the actor anymore, you're seeing the character, and you're just like kind of, I really hate you, you bug me the hell out of me. So it's really he really sells it, and you've got to be used to it by now. I'd like to see him branch out and do different things, but he's got that kind of snidey businessman acting ability down, and I think he's gonna continue on with it. So let's hope he does, because he's a really good actor. Guys, in conclusion, Ready Player One is a masterpiece in special effects, but not quite so in storytelling. But the film is carried by its actors, and it's a very good film. I give it 8 out of 10. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Inside the Movie World. I'm your host, Elliot Rance, and I hope you join me for the next one real soon.